Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Friday Charge brought to you by Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian. And today, February 13th, 2026, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Toyota, we're going to talk about Rivian, we're going to talk about Tesla, we're going to talk about our federal government. Yay! So, without further ado, all right, our first topic of the night. Let's talk about this one. I'm actually moderately excited about this. Toyota is introducing the Highlander EV. So this was a bit surprising to me, but Toyota this week announced that its popular Highlander SUV will be going all electric for the 2027 model year. The new 2027 Toyota Highlander is a 3-row SUV, and on paper, it looks like it should be a pretty solid offering. Let's talk about the styling. The new Highlander takes a very boxy, sharp approach to its exterior, and I kind of dig it a lot. It's definitely a pretty big departure from the outgoing model, which was always a little blobby to me. And as my former coworker John pointed out, if you see this, hi John, he always said the old Highlander had hips that he didn't like. and honestly, I understand. Anyway, the Highlander EV will be Toyota's first EV to be assembled in the U.S. Toyota has announced that the vehicle is going to be available with 2 battery packs. The smaller is a 77 kilowatt-hour pack that Toyota says they expect will have 287 miles of range, and the larger is a 95.8 kilowatt-hour pack, which Toyota expects to clock 320 miles of range. This is not EPA tested, though it's Toyota's estimates, but we'll see how true that ends up being. The vehicle will be using a native NACS port, of course. But Highlander will be available in both front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive variants and 2 trim levels, the XLE and the Limited. The XLE will be available with both battery packs and your choice of drive motors, and the Limited is all-wheel drive only and will come standard with the big battery. The all-wheel drive Highlander has 338 horsepower and 323 pound-feet of torque, and the front-wheel model has 221 horsepower and 198 pound-feet of torque. Fairly weak numbers for an EV, but also, do you need that much power on a Toyota Highlander?
No.
We've just been spoiled by
We're not taking this out to the drag strip.
Right. The new Highlander is about 4 inches longer and 2 inches wider than the outgoing model, but it has an 8-inch longer wheelbase, so it should have more interior space. On the interior, while we're on the topic, you will get a 14-inch infotainment system and a 12.3-inch driver display. The infotainment system runs Toyota's standard, the latest version of whatever Toyota's standard. I think they just literally call it the Toyota Multimedia System because creative naming. It features wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. Cool. The vehicle will come standard with Softex seats, also known as fake leather. Toyota is stating that with the third row folded, there's 45 cubic feet of cargo space, and they're very proud that the car has 18 cup holders.
Good Lord.
It's a lot of cup holders. It's less than a Subaru Ascent. That one has 19 cup holders.
What's like 3 per person? I mean,
the car claims that it can, or Toyota claims that it can do 10 to 80% in 30 minutes, will feature plug-in charge, features vehicle-to-load technology, although Toyota has not given any specifics on what kind of vehicle to load or how much power it can output, whatever, but they say it will support it. As mentioned, this vehicle will be Toyota's first EV to be built in the U.S. The vehicle will be assembled in Georgetown, Kentucky, and the batteries are being assembled by Toyota in Liberty, North Carolina. Toyota has not yet announced pricing for this model, but it is kind of expected it's going to be in the low to mid 50s starting out, which would put it pretty similar to the EV9 and Ioniq 9. So I actually am a little excited about this. It's no secret that we and several other EV people have been semi-hard on Toyota this whole time. You know, they came out the gate with the BZ4X, which had problems. Maybe wasn't quite as bad as some people thought it was, but it definitely had issues. And now it almost feels like Toyota kind of was just waiting for everyone else to give up so that they can then just start swinging and start taking people out. I don't know. Because really on paper, this sounds like it should be a winner. Mm-hmm. The Highlander has always been one of Toyota's better selling models since it's been introduced. And I mean, this seems to be the electric version of that, and it still gives people everything they want on paper, in theory. and I think it looks good. It's got good space. I mean, you have an EV9. What do you think about it?
So yeah, I will say this: I when the story dropped, I've been busy at work this week and I hadn't much time to look at it. So this is really kind of like my first time hearing about it because I didn't look at the notes today before the episode recorded. So thank you for that. I really like this. I mean, technically, can we technically say that Toyota has more EVs now than Ford?
Yeah.
Almost. I guess you could. So yeah.
They have 4 models, so yes.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I really like this. I don't know if there's one thing I don't know if I'm feeling. Let me go back to it over here.
Ooh, hot take.
Hot take. Let me go to share this tab instead. I don't know if I'm feeling this raised brake light back here, backlight.
The light bar. You don't know
the light bar.
It being that high.
Yeah, it's high, and I just don't know if I'm feeling it. I mean, it kind of has that Honda Prologue look to it in the back.
I'll tell you this. I prefer the light bar way up high over the dog bones at the very bottom of the Santa Fe bumper.
Yes. Okay. I will agree with you. I'll give you kudos. I'll give you that one.
So if there's an automaker listening, to appease Joel and I, just put the light bar, I guess, dead center on the back.
Put it in the middle. Yep. Put it in the middle. So another question. They're keeping the gas powered Highlander, right? Yeah.
No,
they're not.
No.
Oh.
The Highlander will be fully electric.
So I'm guessing the Sequoia will kind of step into that spot then?
Yeah, and they have the Grand Highlander, which is slightly larger.
Okay, yep.
And that one's going to continue on. I believe that one's a hybrid, and only offered as a hybrid. Okay. But the just plain Highlander will be electric only.
Yeah.
And that's why that's kind of what surprised me the most, is for this to be one of Toyota's bread and butter models. Them just going ahead and just making the jump, especially in the current climate and current market where you have other EV automakers, or other legacy automakers saying, oh, we're going to scale back production for the next however many years, whatever, there's not, the market's unstable, whatever. And now Toyota's actually coming out and be like, Toyota BZ, CHR, BZ Woodland, Highlander, all at the same time. Pow.
Well, I mean, we did dog Toyota for a while, but I mean, looking back in hindsight's 2020, they kind of waited till see how everything settled down, which was kind of a smart move, I guess you could say. I mean,
it really feels like they just, maybe they didn't care about being the early adopter. Maybe they knew that market conditions were going to shift the way they have, and that would be their perfect time to then start trying to push stuff out, because they might be one of the only ones doing it.
Yeah. I mean, this is really cool looking. Like you said, it doesn't need a lot of power. My wife's EV9 doesn't have the best horsepower year for the.
It's slow, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's slow. Yeah, it's slow. But like I said, this is not a car people like me and you are going to drive. It's soccer moms, the people who have families, and people who go on long trips and things like that. So I think the specs are fine. I really like the front of this car. I like how they have the light bar that goes across. Actually looks good. It looks meaty in the front. But yeah, this is a really cool looking EV, and kudos to Toyota. I like the blue too. I like that blue color.
Well, hey, since we're talking about really cool looking EVs, let's move on.
Let's do it.
We're getting one step closer to the Rivian R2. So Rivian is still holding out on final specs for its most anticipated new model, but this week saw the embargo lift for some media outlets, and several journalists and YouTubers were able to post a first drive review of the new Rivian R2. So Rivian does point out that words.
You all right there, buddy?
The vehicles in these videos are still technically pre-production samples, but they also say that they should be pretty representative of what the launch edition vehicles will be once released. And based on what has been shown so far, this is kind of what we can ascertain. It's an 87.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, 400 volt architecture. The launch edition is a dual motor all-wheel drive variant with 656 horsepower. So twice as much as the Highlander all-wheel drive anyway.
Yep.
It will do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. They haven't given any solid info as like peak DC fast charge speeds or anything, but Rivian is expecting 10 to 80 in about 30 minutes. There's a new vehicle to load adapter, which looks like it will be capable of producing 2,400 watts, or outputting, because it's not producing. It'll be native DAX. It's on the driver rear. Over 300 miles of range, EPA is still to be determined, and they're not using air suspension on R2, instead going for a traditional coil spring setup.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. So for those unfamiliar, the R2 is pretty close to Model Y in size. It's about 15 inches smaller in length and 11 inches shorter in height compared to the R1S. So the initial reviews are pretty limited. I mean, there's only a handful of videos out currently.
There's not many who
they were
got
on a pretty
access.
it was a pretty controlled type course situation. But so far everything I've seen seems to be pretty dang glowing. And honestly, you would kind of hope so. The R2 is a bit of a make or break vehicle for Rivian, and assuming they get the price right, hopefully it's a winner for the brand. And speaking of pricing, Rivian initially kind of said that it was going to start at 45 grand, but there's been a lot of stuff that's happened since they said that. We're in a completely different geopolitical environment and all that jazz. So who knows how close to 45 grand we're going to be. My guess is the launch edition is going to be somewhere between 60 to 65 grand. And it's going to be a while before we see any stripped out models that might be get anywhere close to 40 to 45 grand.
Yep.
I'm still pretty pumped about it. I think it'll be interesting to see how the launch goes. R2 is kind of coming out at a not awesome time because it's coming out at the same time as coming out at the same time as a bunch of vehicles in the same segment, in the kind of not a little, I guess maybe a little larger than mid-size crossover segment, but also luxury EV segment. GLC EV is almost here. iX3, EX60. There's a refreshed Q6 e-tron coming. And now none of those have like off-road prowess or anything compared to the R2, but they're all probably going to be similar pricing, similar range, if not more range, similar charging, if not faster charging. They're all luxury. It's an interesting segment, and it's getting very heated very quickly. We pretty recently we drove a Cadillac Lyriq, and we were talking about there's not that many vehicles in the mid-size luxury segment. They're coming.
Yes, they
and
are.
They're coming fast.
Yes. I mean, you're kind of shocked that this is actually the next segment that take off, because you would think it would be the Kumbaya $30,000, $25,000 EV,
Well,
but
they're kind of following the same playbook, aren't they?
Yep.
When Rivian launched, everyone was like, why are they only doing the most expensive vehicles? And when Tesla launched, why are we only doing Model S, Model X?
Yep.
And then the next vehicles they're releasing are now in the middle price range. So your 60,000s or whatever. When Model Y released, it was 50 to 60 grand. When Model 3 released, it was, pretty expensive. And so maybe then the next segment we'll see from these kind of new up and coming automakers will finally be the affordable vehicles. Maybe not Tesla. They seem to not care about cars anymore. But maybe Rivian will eventually get there. Maybe R3 will be our $40,000 or $35,000 car. Who knows?
Well, I mean, Toyota kind of started with low and working their way up, though. I mean,
yeah, but Toyota is a legacy automaker. Yes. They're not doing the whole hip, new cool thing.
That's right. I mean, it makes sense. So R2 now, R3, what, a year or two?
Maybe. I don't think they've had any firm dates on
we haven't
R3
heard much
yet,
about
other than
it.
just showing it off a little bit.
And where does that fall into this price-wise?
So R3 will be a little smaller.
So it'll be less.
I'm hoping it would be less expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we actually know that yet.
Yep. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When this popped up, I got online and within an hour and a half had my $100 reservation or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to get it when it comes out, but it's there and I have that option. So let's see how far down the queue I get.
I'm still super pumped about R2. I'm super excited. I'm excited to see what it does for Rivian as a company. Because like I said, this is honestly kind of the make or break vehicle for them.
Yes, it is.
They've been getting by on R1 sales, but I mean, they've done a ton of investment to build these R2s and to be able to crank them out in volume. And so if they're not able to do that, I fear for the future of Rivian after that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But on paper, I don't see why R2 wouldn't be successful.
Yep. Everything looks great on paper. That 10 to 80 in 30 minutes. But I guess people just don't care. I mean, honestly, I guess people just don't care about charge speed. People don't care about charge speeds anymore. Yeah.
people don't seem to care, and I
Care,
don't
yeah.
fully understand. On one hand, it's like, okay, people don't care. Cool.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, don't you want continuous improvement?
Yeah.
It's like people are like, well, I'm stopping for 30 minutes anyway. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, for example, we both have EGMP cars.
Mm-hmm.
30
We're
minutes in
spoiled.
our car is 10 to like 90 something percent.
Yep. Close to 100. Yep.
You know, it's like, yeah, sure, you only need that 10 to 80, but if you can get to 90% in the same amount of time, that's more range per, you know what I mean? That's
Yep.
more range added in the same amount of time in theory. But people allegedly don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
you see all of these automakers are targeting 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least in the US. In China, we're like, we're going to do it in 10 minutes and you're going to charge at 5C and you're going to need a
15 minutes is
megawatt
too
charger
long.
for your sedan.
Yeah.
But it
So
is
I'm
an
guessing we're
interesting
probably-
discussion, and we'll see how it goes going forward.
I'm seeing we're going to see peak charge rates 150, 175, I'm guessing.
I want to say one of the numbers I saw online for peak was in the 200s,
But it probably doesn't hold it.
but it's kind of a typical curve where it
The
starts
Tesla
and then
curve.
just walks its
Yep.
way down. It's kind of
Yeah.
my assumption. Again, we've not actually seen anything for certain. I don't know that any of the videos posted so far have shown DC fast charging. That was probably in the list of things Rivian said they're not allowed to show.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, one last thing, and I've seen people online. I actually had a little scuffle with someone online complain about the charging. And I see, Tesla's DC fast charging fees are not outstanding, and they really haven't changed much since they brought their cars out. I mean,
yeah. And
that's
one of the things we've talked about. We've talked about when we review it. Tesla, you can tell though, they know this. And when you use the built-in route planner, that's why the Tesla route planner, it doesn't try to get you to stop at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It tries to have you charger hop, charge for 15 minutes, drive an hour and a half, charge for 15 minutes versus charging for 30 minutes and driving 2.5 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla seems to take into account that their charge curve is not amazing by any account. But if they can keep you below in the lower part of the curve or in the lower part of the battery pack where it charges the best, in theory, you will spend less time charging.
So curious if Rivian will adopt that same model for R2.
Right.
So, yeah.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Joel, you keep setting me up good segues. Speaking of Tesla.
Look at me.
Tesla's launching a new vehicle-to-grid program in Texas. And honestly, it sounds pretty neat. During times of peak demand, Cybertruck owners with the requisite hardware installed on their house will be able to output power from the battery packs into the grid in order to mitigate generation issues. Tesla owners who participate in the program will be given bill credits for the amount of power pulled from their vehicle. And to me, this is just one of the coolest aspects. I didn't have that many notes on it because, it's a vehicle-to-grid program. They're all pretty similar. This is one of the cooler aspects of an electric vehicle to me, though. Just because, if you have thousands of these things or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of these cars plugged in at any given time, not actively charging, and suddenly you're like, hey, I need an extra megawatt of grid capacity. Everyone just got home 5 p.m. and turned on their AC units.
Yep.
I can temporarily pull from vehicles. I can temporarily pull from these vehicles to keep from straining the grid and causing brownout situations or dirty power or whatever. And then once the demand lowers back, we stop pulling from the batteries and they charge them back up.
Yep.
It's a win-win. I mean, you have all this idle energy sitting around. Why not? And they're paying people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Texas, like you said. That being a launch market just had to be on purpose. Texas, as we know, has an independent electric grid, and it has had some issues in the past, weather-related issues, generation issues, etc. It had to be on purpose that they chose Texas as the launch state for this.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
You're good.
I was swapping between screens there since I'm the screen share person. Yeah, this does make sense. Like I said, if this was a for me in Arkansas, I would do it. My car gets home sometimes and I still got 70-60% so I didn't drive too far, and I plug it in, waiting for it to kick on the charge. Why not if it needs to pull some in July when it's 103 outside and it feels like 178? Why not pull some of my energy off my car to help the grid? My solar, I got solar. That's what my solar does. So,
Right.
yeah, makes sense. Might as well use it if you got it.
Yeah. And moving on. So you can't freeze NEVI funds, but they're trying to anyway. So earlier this year, a U.S. district judge ruled that the DOT could not just freeze NEVI funding without congressional approval, which seemed like a win. That meant that the NEVI program would hopefully be starting back up and states would be able to get the money for it to have chargers installed, and we'd see an increase in electric vehicle infrastructure, which is a good thing. However, the Trump administration's DOT is still trying to kill the program, and they're just doing it in other ways. So previously, if you'll remember, NEVI rules required that charger components had to be sourced from domestic manufacturing, and specifically it required that 55% of the charger components were domestically sourced.
Mm-hmm.
The DOT has modified this proposal and is now raising that threshold to 100%, meaning that 100% of the charger components have to be domestically sourced, which currently would severely limit the choices for hardware at these sites and would therefore slow down the entire operation. And just ultimately all it does is it makes the hardware harder to source. It will drive up the prices on the hardware, simple supply and demand. And it's going to just ultimately lead to more negative press about how the program, quote, does not work or is too slow. If you'll remember, during the last round of NEVI, these were the exact talking points people tried to use. Media was quick to say that the $5 billion program had only built 8 chargers, when in reality, it was after that point, they started coming out semi-quickly, but it took a while for them to get off the ground because of sourcing issues and whatever else. And once that started getting resolved, the site started getting installed, and then the administration changed, and then they stopped. And then we had the green light, and now they're going to stop again because they're not going to be able to get chargers. Or they're not going to be able to get enough chargers. And then we're just going to repeat the cycle, and in 3 years or what?
Someone's going to sue. They'll be in the courts.
Right.
And waiting for someone to rule on it.
And it's ultimately, it's just going to hold up the idea of the programs forever. And at some point, the CPOs are going to be tired of waiting, and we're not going to want to deal with it anyway.
So question for you. Put you on the spot. Do we need NEVI funding anymore?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I
stumped them.
I mean, I think it's ultimately can be a good thing. Anything to incentivize CPOs to build more charging and to build it in areas that are not currently served by DC fast charging. One of the requirements was it had to be located on an alternative fuel corridor, which is the majority of the interstate highways, and then some major other U.S. highway, things like that. And one of the goals, like in Arkansas, was to have a DC fast charging station that met NEVI requirements every 50 miles on these alternative fuel corridors. And so, like, at one hand, yes, we have new CPOs like Iona, and we have Walmart coming through and doing things, and we have BP Pulse, and we have others. You have Tesla still, going full speed on charging, it seems like, that are installing more and more units and therefore filling in these dead zones. But if the concept of getting the government money for it would make them do it quicker or more efficiently, then it couldn't hurt. But the issue is it has not been quick nor efficient.
Yeah. I almost wish there was a way, and I know it's probably not good, it's probably not received well, is we've just bypassed the states. I mean, we have this NEVI funding. If you're a company and you want to open up a charger, here's the rules. Apply for a grant. You either get it or don't, and you can open up a charger there. Just make it kind of it was just so difficult when it first came out. There were so many rules. Every state had different plans.
Well, and then also because it was in the state's hand, it was also if the state just didn't want to.
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas did drag its feet. I mean,
Arkansas did the whole bidding process and then managed to make and drag their feet so long that NEVI has been canceled and restarted like a couple times. It feels like at this point.
I think from like the bidding process to actually awarding the actual bids and locations took like two years. I'm like, why would it take that long? Shouldn't take this long to spend.
Yeah, they announced the locations, and then right after that, we had an administration change.
Yep.
And then they announced locations again because the administration was like, "Oh, we can do it again." and now we're back here. Anyway.
Oh, gotta love the federal government. Gotta love them.
Hey, we're gonna end our news discussion on a good note.
Let's end it on a
We've
good
got specs on the Tesla Semi.
Yay.
So for those of you who don't know me or do know me, you should know I love big numbers. And lucky for me, Tesla this week has pulled the wraps off of its production specs for the Tesla Semi. And for starters, they're just going to answer the big question, range. So the Semi is going to be available in 2 configs with a standard battery pack or the long-range battery pack. Tesla claims the standard pack has 325 miles of range, and the long range will have 500 miles of range. Tesla has not stated how large these battery packs actually are, but they did say they expect efficiency to be around 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile. Damn. And so if you do 1.7 kilowatt hours times 325 miles, that would put the standard pack at 552 kilowatt hours.
It's a big boy.
In the long range pack at 800 kilowatt hours. Did I do that math right? I feel like that math's right. Right. Hold on.
5 times 1 point. Yeah, it's
850 kilowatt hours. Sorry.
Okay.
I cut 50 kilowatt hours off. I mean, that's not a small amount by any means. Yep. Even crazier, both of the trucks are capable of megawatt charging, which we kind of already knew about. They're going to use the MCS standard, Tesla's, and that's one of the things for V4 supercharging is V4 cabinets can support up to 1.2 megawatts of energy. So you would have one charge cabinet to support one Semi charging at full power. Tesla is claiming both trucks can add 60% of their battery capacity in 30 minutes. For those who still want me to do math, that means the standard truck can add 331 kilowatt hours in 30 minutes if our battery sizes are accurate. And that would mean the big one can do 510 kilowatt hours in 30 minutes.
It's big boy numbers.
For perspective, 510 kilowatt hours is roughly equal to 5 F-150 Lightning standard ranges, or 6 Tesla Model Ys.
That's a lot of batteries.
That's a lot of batteries.
That's a lot of lithium. Yep.
Now we need to get those on the vehicle to grid program.
Yes. Sure, take it. I don't care.
The trucks will have 3 motors on the rear axles, capable of outputting up to 800 kilowatts of drive power. The smaller truck has a curb weight of 20,000 pounds, with the bigger battery truck having a curb weight of 23,000 pounds. Now, the one thing we don't know yet is pricing, and honestly, that's not too surprising. You know, we, the average consumer, are not the target audience here. Tesla, I'm sure, will be wheeling and dealing on these things, you know, offering bulk discounts or whatever else, depending on fleet size, order size, commitments, etc. You know, this is the same argument you get in pretty much anything business related, where you just ask for a quote, and depending on how many things you ask for, suddenly the pricing is different. The more you order, the better the pricing, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I'm just excited that if we're talking 500, 800, however many kilowatt hours of energy, I'm
surprised it took us so long to get numbers on the Semi, though. It's been a while.
I think they've just been actively chipping away and developing and tweaking and everything else.
Now, they're made at the Nevada plant, correct? Or which one?
I think they're out of Fremont. I thought they might be Nevada.
Yeah, I don't know. I get those two confused. So, yeah, I mean, this is exciting. I mean, we won't see any around here for a while because there's just no infrastructure for it. But I don't think we saw them in LA. Yeah, they're Nevada. I was right. Yeah. Look at me. Late night. I got one.
Yeah, we didn't see any in LA because we didn't get close to the interstate.
Yep. We took back roads everywhere. So, yeah, this is exciting. I'm glad that Tesla's still moving forward with this. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of these on the road.
Yeah. All right, Joel.
All right,
give me something.
What do we release this week? So, last weekend we went to, we had our second anniversary event with Iona. We hosted it here in Little Rock. We had a decent turnout. It was kind of cold.
Yeah, we had a good turnout.
Yeah, it was kind of cool when it started, but warmed up during the day. So decent turnout. Shout out to all the regs that came out. Doug, Chris, Ted. If I'm missing anyone, I'm sorry. Everyone who came out. Mike, yes, Mike. Doug bought out his new Porsche EV he got. It was new to him.
His new Taycan.
So we got to see that and saw that charge. Wasn't very impressed with the speeds, but like I said, he didn't precondition. So.
He's figured it out.
He did.
He for some reason, I guess the Porsche app, if you send a navigation destination through the app instead of setting it in the car, it won't precondition.
That's probably why I was only getting 120 kilowatts.
So he didn't get it. It wasn't preconditioned.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, it held it for a deep. It held that 120 kilowatts.
The whole charge session. Yeah,
it was 127 kilowatts at like 88% or something like that. It was stupid. So yeah, but we had a good event. Thanks to everyone who came out. Thanks to everyone who picked up some swag. Met some great new people. And yeah, so hopefully Ayana will do it next year. And shout out to everyone at Ayana who sent us the stuff. Great to work with. Shout out to the people at Casey's. They came out, looked at the cars. They were impressed. Got some pizzas. So yeah, it was just a great day for everyone. No issues. You know what? And this is what kind of shocked me. We're in the deep south at a gas station with EVs. No one bothered us, which was kind of nice. You would expect a heckler
not a single one of those spots got iced the whole time we were
there was one employee there, but he moved his car. But yeah.
But like once we got started, no one
came.
No one tried.
Nope. So yeah. So that was Saturday morning, and then we did some content. So one video was released this week. Thanks to all those who watched it. It's getting some really good views on it. I kind of gave my 4-year overall synopsis review of us owning the EV6. So that
it was a bit of a multifaceted video. Sorry to cut you off. Not only have you just had the EV6 for 4 years, it's been 6 months since you sold your Tesla and have been daily driving the EV6.
Yes.
Because before, the EV6 was your wife's car.
Yeah. And I really didn't drive
much time with it.
That's right. So kind of gave you, and I had never really had time to nitpick things, just things that when I drove it here and there, I was like, this is kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, I mean, I talked about it, and go and watch that video. Kind of talk about what I love about it, some things that annoy me. But yeah, it's a good video. Thanks for those who stepped up and watched it. Love the comments we heard. A lot of EV6 owners out there commented on it. People who were thinking about getting an EV commented on it, and lots of good questions. So great discussion in the videos. And if you haven't watched it, watch it, comment on it, and let us know what you think. Sebastian recorded his 6-month review of the Ioniq 5. Yep. So
yeah,
you all
so
know
Ioniq
soon. 5. Yep. Ioniq 5 and Key EV6 are sisters, or brothers from another mother or something like that. So, there's some things bother Sebastian that don't bother me, and there's things that bother me and don't bother Sebastian. So check his video out in a couple weeks. But yeah, that was a really fun day of meeting people, driving. And do you have anything else you want to share, Sebastian?
No, I mean, we also released a video. We just talked about Ayana. We talked about the event and all that for our this Wednesday. You've been doing some stuff on the audio platforms, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, yep. I haven't actually gotten a notification in a while, so I wasn't sure. You've been releasing some stuff on audio platforms. We're still playing around with this whole YouTube thing, trying to figure out how to appease the algorithm gods. So if you're interested in hearing any of the mini charge episodes from the last week or two, those have been pretty much released exclusively on the audio platforms, just because we're trying to play. It almost felt like we were freaking the YouTube algorithm out maybe when we started uploading more frequently. And that caused some views decline. And now that we're back into our regular just three a week groove, things seem to be getting better.
Gotcha.
It's a hard animal to figure out.
It is.
We could also just be wrong. It could.
And we've had other YouTubers reach out to us and say, "Is the algorithm not working for you this month either?" We're like, it's just kind of weird. And for those of you who don't know about the mini charge episodes, it's just a daily take on something. They're honestly no longer than, and they actually kind of don't work for YouTube because they're really just like 7-minute videos, 8 if I'm lucky, 9 if I talk crazy. But what we've tried doing on the audio platform is taking a topic and kind of breaking it down into 3 or 4 parts and talking about that for the week. So kind of last week was, I don't remember. This week was talking about range and do you need enough range? And so we talked about what range is enough, what range is not enough. Is faster charging better than more range? We kind of take a big topic and break it down into smaller episodes. And then if we decide to do that episode for YouTube, we'll just take all those 4 big topics and talk about it in one episode. So now instead of you having 4 7-minute videos, we have now 1 30-minute video that week. So that's kind of how the approach we're taking.
Last week was all about EV pricing.
EV pricing, that's right. And the rise and fall of EV pricing. So yeah, so those are just fun little short episodes. If you're driving in a car, sitting in a carpool line, want to listen to something for 7 or 8 minutes, you can pop that on. But we'll still have our content here on YouTube and nothing's much changed. But yeah, just keep expecting 3 videos a week. I also want to shout out, we got a couple new members on the for our YouTube channel. So one of the guys' name, I think, is John. He hangs out with us. Well, we have a little guys club, and we go out and enjoy a cigar once a month. And he's one of the guys we met there and paid member there. And we also got someone else, I believe. So yeah, if you want to know what the best way to support our show and what we do, it costs $5 a month. Go subscribe to us on YouTube, and that helps us get stuff and helps us do things and all that fun stuff so we can keep bringing you this content. So yeah, so if you haven't done it yet.
And we've got some ideas for some other, currently all we really do is early releases for members, but we've got some ideas in the back of our mind of things in the future, some other member perks. We're still ironing out some details on that and how we want it all to work.
But yeah, if you want a way to support us, head over to YouTube, subscribe, become a paid member. It's the cost of 1 small Starbucks coffee a month, and it helps us out.
Ish. Maybe cheaper.
It depends on where you live. So,
all right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on wherever you get audio podcasts, make sure you follow us on there, rate, comment, whatever your platform uses. It does help us grow. Also, we have merch. Just by the way, I finally have a sample. There you go. This is one for the Friday Charge. Let's plug in and get started with the little J1772 and Naxport. I thought it was cute. And it has a tiny little EV Geek head.
The logo looks better on your color than it does on my color.
Yeah, so your color was the first one, and that color is actually no longer available. So
vintage. I got a vintage thing. Yep.
Anyway, and we have other things. We have hats, we've got hoodies, we've got sweatshirts. So go check that out if you want. It's shop.evgeekstudios.com. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of The Friday Charge.